Good afternoon, everyone. We're just going to slowly let folks in for today's event. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get started. Good afternoon. I'm Madeline Milka, President and CEO of APAICS, the Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies. On behalf of APAICS, it's my pleasure to welcome you, our distinguished guests, family and friends of the fellows, APAICS alumni, board members, and sponsors to the graduation ceremony of the 2020-2021 cohort. This class is the first cohort to start and end their fellowship in an entirely virtual setting. So these have truly been a remarkable 9 months. Public service stops for nothing. Through a pandemic and violence at the workplace, public policy continues to evolve with the changing times. APAICS fellows continue to be a part of history and being there to support the work of their host offices. There's also a member of the cohort who is able to work on a bill that has now been signed into law, an accomplishment that not many get to put on their resume. Continuing the mission of increasing AAPI representation at all levels of government, APAICS hopes that this experience allows each of the fellows to further their professional development so that they can build a meaningful career as part of the public service ecosystem. It is also APAICS's mission to build coalitions with other communities because diverse representation, whether as staff or as our elected leaders, brings a wide range of perspectives that allows us to truly be a representative democracy. These fellows embody our collective future. You will always be a part of the APAICS family, and I hope that you will continue to see APAICS as a resource. We owe a debt of gratitude to co-founders, former Secretary Norman Y. Mineta and former Delegate Robert Underwood. It was a shared vision that allowed for AAPI elected congressional leaders to be recognized as a caucus that led to the creation of APAICS. This work would not be possible without the support of our partners, so I'd like to recognize Amazon, Bristol-Myers Squibb, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Southwest, Toyota, and Wells Fargo. I'd also like to thank the congressional offices that hosted the APAICS Fellows this year. Let's also give a round of appreciation to the APAICS team, Hee-Jin Han, who has been diligently working with this cohort, Deanne Herman, Mela Christian, Anthony Malaki, and Helen Ruggiero, and all of the interns, volunteers, consultants, and board members who support our work. We want to celebrate this moment of joy and congratulate the APAICS Fellows for their achievement. So big round of applause to all of you. We would not be able to do this work without KPAC and the leadership of Chairwoman Representative Judy Chu and her team. Elected in 2009, representing California's 27th Congressional District, Congresswoman Chu serves on the House Ways and Means Committee, as well as the Small Business Committee. Please welcome KPAC Chair, Congresswoman Judy Chu.
Well, thank you so much. It's so great to be here with all of you for the 2021 APAICS Fellowship graduation ceremony. Despite what a challenging year it's been due to the coronavirus pandemic, I'm so glad that we were able to come together virtually like this to celebrate the 7 outstanding APAICS fellows who are graduating today. Despite having to conduct most of your fellowship remotely, I've been so impressed with how well all of our APAICS fellows have adjusted to navigating the complexities of Capitol Hill and how much they've been able to accomplish in the past 9 months. Of course, none of this would be possible without APAICS Fearless Leader, Madeline Milka, and all of the sponsors represented here today who made the APAICS Fellowship Program possible. So thanks to your support so much, APAICS is able to provide young AAPI professionals with the important skills they need to succeed in their careers. And in fact, I've witnessed the impact of the APAICS program firsthand throughout my time in Congress, where so many former APAICS fellows have gone on to pursue careers in public service, such as being chiefs of staff, leaders of nonprofit organizations, White House officials, and even elected officials themselves. And it's because of you that I can sleep better at night knowing that we have a program in place to cultivate our AAPI leaders of tomorrow. I'm very proud of all the APAICS fellows who are graduating today. And I especially want to acknowledge Tony Tran, who is an APAICS fellow in my office and has done such an outstanding job throughout his fellowship. Because of Tony's strong background in healthcare research, he's helped to expand my health portfolio, especially as it pertains to mental health and our ongoing COVID-19 relief and recovery efforts. Tony's helped to spearhead several initiatives for the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, or CAPAC, which I chair, including helping to draft and pass a resolution that I introduced to condemn the horrific shootings in Georgia and reaffirm the House's commitment to combating anti-Asian hate. And just 2 weeks ago, during Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, the resolution passed out of the House with a bipartisan vote of 245 to 180. On top of this, Tony took the initiative to help introduce the first ever congressional resolution to mark May 10th as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Mental Health Day. And he assisted CAPAC's efforts to address COVID-19 health disparities and to highlight the alarming rise in anti-Asian hate crimes. Although all of Tony's fellowships were done remotely, I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to actually meet him in person a few weeks ago when Speaker Pelosi held a special enrollment ceremony for the signing of Senator Mazie Hirono and Congresswoman Grace Meng's COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, which also included the text of a bill I co-led, the Jabbar Hire No Hate Act. After such a difficult year where we've seen over 6,600 anti-Asian hate crimes, it meant so much to have the bill pass out of both chambers of Congress with strong bipartisan support, and to have Tony there as the speaker sign the bill to send it to President Biden's desk. That bill is now the law of the land, and it was great to have Tony there to be part of that historic moment. My office has truly benefited from having Tony as a fellow, and we can't wait to see what the future holds for him. And based on what I've heard about this impressive fellowship class, I know that all of the other APAICS fellows here today have done tremendous work within their respective offices as well. And through their fellowships, they've been able to gain invaluable insight into not just the inner workings of our federal government, but also the importance of having AAPIs at the table when decisions are being made. I know that all of our fellows have bright futures ahead, and I look forward to seeing the amazing things that each of you will accomplish in your careers. Congratulations again to our APAICS graduates.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Appreciate your leadership and having a APAICS fellow in your office. We look forward to continuing this work together. Tony, congratulations. Very much a proud colleague of yours now as you move forward in your career. So let's give him a round of applause here. Next up, we are excited to welcome Ian Hunter, who is the Senior Health Policy Advisor in the office of Senator Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire. He worked with Veena Muralitharan, another APAICS fellow graduating today.
Thank you, and thank you to APAICS for having me today. I apologize, Senator Hassan's not able to be here. She is at an event in the state on one of our very few homework periods of the year. But I really appreciate the opportunity to speak a little bit about Veena's time with us and thank her for all the work she's done. I'm sure for all the fellows. It's been a challenging year to enter a program largely remote and sort of work your way into an office and meet new people in this unique format. But Vina immediately from day one was able to jump in and really help our work, which cuts across both healthcare committees of jurisdiction in the Senate, the Help Committee and the Finance Committee, starting with our COVID-19 response work, which ranges, as I'm sure it did for many of you, from constituent services work, helping individuals get access to treatment and vaccines, really life or death situations for people. Vina was jumping right in and helping on the constituent side, and also on our broad policy issues. We did work to ensure coverage for vaccines. Vina was instrumental in our work to move through the Finance Committee a maternal health package that addressed maternal mortality and morbidity and health disparities. She's been critical in our longer term efforts around drug pricing, and very recently we just wrapped up a 8 or 9 month effort to introduce bipartisan legislation to improve upon our strategic national stockpile and pandemic response to ensure that if we ever find ourselves in a situation again, we have the masks and gowns and protective equipment and medications we need to respond in ways that we didn't have last year. And we're looking forward to having Vina bring that bill to the floor for us next week when we introduce, and it will set the groundwork for hopefully some really meaningful, long-lasting reforms. So I'm really grateful for Vina's thoughtful, thorough, and quick approach to work. Those things I think don't often happen in combination with each other, but I was impressed from day one with her research ability, her ability to identify the right questions to ask, the right problems to find solutions for, but also be really quick and responsive in what is a very fast-paced office, particularly during a pandemic. And we just, we wouldn't have done the volume of work over the past 9 months, 10 months without Vina's help. Her work has made a huge difference in our office over that time and will continue to make a huge difference. A lot of the work she's done, we may have not gotten it across the finish line, but we've laid a lot of groundwork that will continue to yield policy results and help for our constituents and people across the country. So again, I'm just really grateful for Vina's time and thank her very much. I know the Senator is looking forward to thanking her in person next week for all her work. And thank you all for organizing the fellowship, for sending Vina our way. We're really grateful to APAICS as well.
Thank you so much, Ian. Let's give Vina a round of applause as well. Congratulations. Next, we are honored to have Alexa Walker, Director of Coalitions and Member Services of the Republican Study Committee, who hosted Josh Shin. Alexa?
Great, thanks so much. And I hope my connection's okay. I'm actually in Texas right now, and we're having a bit of a rainstorm, but really honored to be with you all. We were honored to host Josh at the Republican Study Committee over the last many months, and Josh is our second fellow through the program, so have appreciated continuing our relationship. As was mentioned, I just really want to commend Josh for coming on in such a difficult time. I can't imagine being kind of thrown in. We actually don't have offices, so Josh was so flexible and some days working remotely, and when he came in, he was actually sitting in another member's office, and instead of kind of just settling there, he really took that as an opportunity to expand his network and get to know another office, and really take advantage of what was a less than awesome situation in that. So just commend him for his attitude and his work ethic to get to expand his network. And some of the things he was able to do, I'll just share. I think of Josh as he really stepped in, particularly for me and what I do, and was able to basically expand our capacity and have us do things that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. At the beginning of a Congress, we kind of use that as a reboot time. We have a lot of different lists, and Josh was able to basically reconcile all of these lists, whether that was for our outreach or our members, and he basically rebuilt our entire outreach list system from scratch for all of our member offices, so 154, and he did that for all the members and staff, and that is no small task, and it's a little monotonous, but he did it, and it's a well-oiled machine now. He also was able to do some great research projects. Again, it wouldn't have been information we had access to otherwise. So I know I definitely appreciated that. When things are so fast-paced on the Hill, sometimes I never had and don't always have an opportunity to really stop and look into research and who's writing on different things. So appreciate that. And then Josh has some great technical skills. And for those of us who are less technologically advanced, I appreciated his ability to kind of, without even thinking, just jump in and be able to magically make things work in ways that we weren't. And again, he built that. And so he's actually been in the process of training our new fellow this week. And it'll be the things that he built will outlast him, and they will be things that our team continues to use. So I know every member of our team appreciates that. We have a lot of staff who use what he built. And we also, he was a great help. We have had some member meetings, and there's no staff obviously in those meetings right now. We're kind of in a temporary place because of COVID, and Josh came every week, and he would just jump in and be able to be an extra set of hands where we needed him. And that's just, we were so grateful to have him there. And we wish him all the best. And we're really just happy to have him here. And I really appreciated his attitude and just being able to come in during this time, and appreciate the program for extending another fellow to us. So congratulations, Josh.
Thank you so much, Alexa. Josh, congratulations. It's good to see that there will be a lot of legacy work still at the committee there from all the work that you've done. So congratulations. This year, we've asked one of our sponsors, Coca-Cola, to provide remarks for us from the work that we're doing together in partnership. And so it's my pleasure to introduce Jiwan Liu Terablan, who works as a Global Strategic Insights at the Coca-Cola Company. She's also the Vice President of the Asian Business Resources Group. And in her day job, she is dedicated to growing the latest Asian concept in the country, Panda Express, and strengthening their partnership. Her role at the Asian BRG allows her to channel her creative energy into elevating the voice of AAPI associates at Coca-Cola. And outside of her work, she's a lifelong runner and inclusion advocate who also happens to live in KPAC Chair Judy Chu's district. So let's welcome Jiwan.
Hello, Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies 2020 to 2021 Fellows. My name is Jiwan Liu Terablan. Thank you for your introduction, Madeline. On behalf of the Coca-Cola Company, we'd love to send you a sincere congratulations on completing this 9-month fellowship program. We are so proud of how you have navigated an unprecedented work environment and also humbled to be part of your journey. Congratulations on finishing the fellowship in a very challenging time, and special shout out to Joshua Shin, who worked in the Republican Study Committee, and Vina Marilee Thurin, who worked with Senator Maggie Hassan. The importance of diversity and inclusion cannot be overstated in Congress or in business. Despite the fact that the 117th Congress is the most racially diverse group in 2021, Asian Americans make up only 3% of House members. Asian American Pacific Islanders make up more than 6% of the total US population, 12% of the corporate America workforce, and yet less than 1% level leadership positions. When it comes to public policy, government, private sectors, we need more Asian American leaders like you. Representation matters not only because we bring diverse perspectives and voices, shaped and formed by our own unique experiences and identities, but also because it is the right thing to do. Without the hard work and commitment from Representative Grace Mang, Senator Mazi Harono, Representative Judy Chu, Senator Tammy Duckworth, and more, we would have never seen the passing of the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act. The Coca-Cola Company is proud to support this fellowship program, which shapes the pipeline of our next generation of AAPI public leaders. As a marketing and insights professional, I'd love to quote one of my favorite marketing experts, Seth Godin. Take risks, be generous, and make a ruckus.
Thank you so much to Coca-Cola and to all of our sponsors in supporting this program, and we continue to grow it every year. We're very excited to see that we'll have more fellows next year, and looking forward to the new cohort who will begin in September. Next up, we'd like to welcome Congresswoman Grace Mang. She is the first vice chair of KPAC, as well as representing New York's 6th Congressional District. She is here to speak about her fellow, Judith Taruya.
Thank you so much, Madeline, and thank you for hosting today's virtual graduation and for your friendship and your tremendous leadership in building a stronger AAPI presence in public service. Good afternoon to our APAICS family. I'm in the heart of Manhattan, not my district, but giving you a free tour while I'm speaking to you. But thank you so much. So proud of the work that APAICS has done. APAICS has really been so instrumental in providing pathways and guidance and support at all levels of civic engagement to ensure that Asian Americans are a crucial part of the political landscape. I want to take a quick moment to recognize all of our fellows for enduring a most challenging year with fortitude. What an unconventional experience you've had. As our nation was grappling with the pandemic, you all started your fellowship in this virtual world, and your fellowship was also marked by an insurrection and seeing our AAPI community nationwide face so many hateful incidents and violence. Despite all of this, you've endured, you've persevered, you've excelled, and you rose above it all. Public service is not the most glamorous or profitable line of work, but it is truly one of the most important. Public service translates our government, laws, and social values into the daily work that keeps our democracy going. For the last 9 months, I have had the pleasure of having my fellow Judith on our team to help keep our democracy going. I still remember Judith's words on her APAICS application, quote, "Policy change can overcome legacies of discrimination," quote. This is her driving force for a career in public service, and what a force she has been. Judith played a critical role on my work to combat anti-Asian hate. She literally helped write and help make history with COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act becoming law. Her phenomenal research skills and out-of-the-box thinking helped build upon one of my signature work on menstrual equity, specifically discovering a way to incentivize higher ed institutions to pilot programs that provide free menstrual products. Her passion to use legislative vehicles to overcome any and all forms of discrimination is not only impressive, but has made her an invaluable member of our team. And not sure if other fellows are aware, but Judith hails from the great state of Hawaii. She traveled cross-country to join our Ohana. In the 20-somewhat years of life, she has never touched snow and never owned a winter jacket until this past winter in DC. And she's going to need more winter clothes now, as she will be spending more winter days on the Hill as a now permanent member on my legislative team. And she will have the distinction of being my first fellow turned legislative assistant. Congratulations, Judith. I look forward to continuing our partnership together, and we will work with the whole APAICS family as we will move mountains together. I'm so proud of you.
Such exciting announcements. I love when we do these graduation ceremonies and members like, hey, guess what? I hired them. So excellent. I love this historic, continuation of us working to find you new staff. So think of us as your permanent headhunters for AAPI representation for the staff. Next up, and congratulations, Judith, on your new role. Next up, we have remarks by Congressman Mark Takano, who is second vice chair of KPAC. He represents California 41st District, and he is going to speak about his fellow Mieko Kuramoto, who also happened to be hired by him. And so continuing this precedence of hiring your APAICS fellows.
Hello, I'm Congressman Mark Takano, and I represent California's 41st Congressional District, which includes the cities of Riverside, Moreno Valley, Jurupa Valley, and Paris. As second vice chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, I'm so thrilled to be with you all virtually to celebrate the 2021 graduating class of the Asian Pacific American Institute of Congressional Studies Fellowship Program. This program not only commemorates your time and achievements working on Capitol Hill, but it also means that another diverse group of fellows from across the nation served our country and contributed to our democratic processes. For many of you, this fellowship is also a step forward in life in public service, or an opportunity to continue working in a congressional office on the administrative, legislative, or communications side. A graduating fellow, Mieko Kuramoto, worked in my office, and I'm honored to say that before the end of her fellowship, she joined my team permanently as our legislative correspondent. Mieko is doing a remarkable job supporting the legislative team and our office as a whole. Her willingness to spearhead our office's effort on the Commission on LGBTQ Service Members and Veterans Act is exceptional. This bill would establish a commission to conduct a fact-finding investigation, which will compile information on LGBTQ personnel in the military who've experienced discrimination or violence and raise public awareness about the scope of this issue. The work that Mieko and all of you contribute to congressional offices is essential. Our government needs fresh and innovative minds to keep Congress relevant and representative of all Americans. And over the last year, the COVID-19 pandemic posed a great challenge to our Asian American and Pacific Islander communities. These communities saw a rise in hate incidences and hate crimes across this country. Because of these horrific events, it's more important than ever for AAPI people to pursue roles in local or federal government to address and prevent further harm to the AAPI community. If AAPI people aren't present in rooms where decisions are made, there will be no progress or resolutions. And that is why it is our responsibility to make sure our demands are heard and acted upon by joining public offices. The power of our collective voice and political strength can make positive change. We saw this in action when President Biden signed the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act into law just a few days ago to ensure that all hate crimes are addressed and to ensure that perpetrators are held accountable. I hope your time on the Hill has inspired you. There is still so much potential in this year's 2021 APAICS Fellowship graduates. I encourage each of you to stay engaged in the political process and to continue being advocates for the AAPI community. Congratulations once again. Thank you for all your work, and Mieko, I look forward to seeing you in the office.
Thank you so much, Congressman Takano. Congratulations, Mieko. Next up, we have remarks by Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, who represents Washington's 7th District. She is also an executive board member of KPAC, and she hosted Natasha Anise.
I'm Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, and I'm proud to represent Washington's 7th Congressional District in the House of Representatives. Thank you so much to APAICS for inviting me to share a few words today and for all the important work that you do. First off, congratulations to the 2021 Fellows. I have been lucky enough to have one of the fabulous members of this graduating class as a fellow in my office. Natasha's hard work, attention to policy details, and incredible spirit have been immensely helpful to all of the work that we do at such a pivotal moment for our agenda. And I know from speaking to her that this fellowship has helped her to make important decisions about the path that she will follow in her pursuit of justice. As the first South Asian American woman ever elected to the House of Representatives and one of only 24 immigrants serving in Congress, I understand how important it is to have diverse voices in the rooms where decisions are made and where policy is written. But unfortunately, so much of our government still lacks the diversity of the communities that we represent. This fellowship helps to break down those barriers and get our best and our brightest, that's all of you, into the rooms and the Zooms that you should be in. So as you consider your next steps, please remember that your voice is vital and it must be heard. Continue your public service in any way that you can. Continue asking tough questions, continue researching, learning, and driving the policy making that we do. And continue using the power you have. Never stop speaking up for yourself, for all of our communities, and for what's right. I'm truly honored to be a part of this community and to be able to stand with each and every one of you in the days ahead. So congratulations on this phenomenal accomplishment. And I wish each and every one of you the best of luck in whatever comes next.
Thank you, Congresswoman Jayapal. And let's also continue this love fest and congratulate Natasha. Next, we have Congresswoman Susie Lee, who represents Nevada's 3rd District and is also an associate member of KPAC. Congresswoman. Okay, it looks like we might have some technical difficulties, as it would be appropriate on any Zoom. So we are just going to wait for a moment for the Congresswoman to sign back on. And I think I also failed to note that it is Michelle Wynn who is being hosted in Congresswoman Susie Lee's office. Okay, I think she is signing back on. Congresswoman Lee.
Unmute. How you doing? Can you hear me? Oh, hold on.
Yes, we can hear you. Now you're muted again.
Okay, now I'm good.
Excellent.
All right.
Thanks so much for joining us. We welcome your remarks for your APAICS fellow, Michelle Wynn.
Well, thank you for having me. And I'm on a mini vacation beginning it, so sorry for all of the craziness. Well, first of all, I just want to thank APAICS for all you do and for giving us or providing Michelle the opportunity to come work in my office. She was such a key member of my team, and the fellowship has been nothing, I hope, as positive for her as it was for me. Not only was she a key member of my team, Michelle always had a can-do attitude, and especially during this pandemic, she was instrumental in helping everyone keep their spirits up, especially when we were working remotely. And I'll just give an anecdote. We would do these team meetups every week to have some fun. And Michelle was always like our game organizer, or, you know, so she was very instrumental in doing that. She, you know, drafted meetings, drafted memos, attended meetings, lots of constituent mail. She even took some stakeholder and constituent meetings. But not only that, I think the best thing that Michelle did for all of us was bring her impeccable design and writing skills to our comms team. She created, and by the way, I was just at a meeting yesterday where someone said your year in review was so amazing. And that was entirely Michelle's creation. And in fact, I think it was recognized by the D-Trip caucus as an example of an excellent year in review. And then the other thing, she revamped and modernized my website. And so she's just been an invaluable part of our team, and we're so thankful for her hard work. But more importantly, I view my role as Congresswoman #1, representing my constituents. But also, I think a key responsibility of members of Congress is to grow our next generation of leaders. And I think it's so important to grow diverse leaders as well. And so that's why I was so excited to get an APAICS fellow, but more importantly, even more excited that it was Michelle. She was just so incredible on our team. And I'm really knowing that our paths are going to cross in the future, but also I'm looking forward to seeing her accomplish great things in her life. And so, Michelle, best of luck, congratulations, and most importantly, thank you for all you've done.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for joining us, and Michelle, congratulations. Next, the cohort decided upon themselves to have a class speaker, and so I welcome Natasha Anise from Congresswoman Jayapal's office to make those remarks.
Thank you so much, Madeleine, for that introduction, and to my whole class for the opportunity to address you all today. I would just like to start off these remarks with a round of thank yous to everyone who made this fellowship possible during what was probably one of the most unconventional years on the Hill, and an amazing experience that challenged and grew all of us. First, thank you to our fearless leader, Madeleine, for all of your guidance this past year, from transitioning the fellowship to online remote work, to setting a powerful and inspiring example for all of us just starting our careers on the Hill. Thank you as well to Alex for being our first point of contact, for being the one who I went to when I needed someone to tell me like it is, and though we had to say goodbye to you as our program director a little earlier than expected, you've nevertheless stayed a solid presence in the APAICS network and a steadfast support for all of us. Thank you as well to Heejin and Anthony for keeping the well-oiled APAICS machine working. Please know that your Mellow Fellows appreciate all the work you've done to support us and the APAICS critical mission. I also personally need to extend a thank you to the offices of former Congressman Gil Cisneros and Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, particularly to my former LD and General Hill superstar Emma Norvell, as well as the Leg and Health teams from Congresswoman Jayapal's office. Truly, there's not enough time to name everyone who's mentored me this past year, but I'd just like to thank you all for your patience as I grew and learned, your willingness to answer all of my many questions, and really let me in on some of the amazing projects that you all have been spearheading. I have been awed and humbled to have been able to share this experience with each and every one of you in our cohort. Throughout our times on Zooms, in group chats, and our few in-person meetups, I've been able to see how you all rose to the challenges of this past year and truly went above and beyond in your roles on the Hill. I've had the incredible pleasure of being able to learn from each and every one of you, learn about your past experiences, issue expertise, and perhaps most importantly, what drives and inspires you in seeking out a career in public service. Indeed, I found it easy to connect with everyone in this cohort because I believe that we're all driven by the same passions and values, to find creative ways to better support the AAPI communities that we come from. I've observed in everyone a gratefulness to their communities for where they are now, and a deep desire to center these homes, either given or chosen, in all of their incredible work. I'm absolutely delighted to have had the opportunity to meet and learn with you all. I truly cannot imagine a more driven or intelligent group of people to have completed this experience with, and I know that going forward, I'll continue to learn so much more from you all. Mentorship is a key tenet of APAICS and of this fellowship, so I also wanted to take a moment and thank all the mentors who reached out, took the time to speak with us, and pass on your own experience or knowledge. I'd just like to acknowledge my own mentors, Nisha, Manjo, and Paolo. From my conversations with our class this year, I know this culture of mentorship will persist, and every person in our cohort is going to be a beacon of support and institutional knowledge for incoming fellows. I would just like to conclude with a few words about how this last year particularly has demonstrated the essential importance of growing AAPI representation in Congress. Our communities have faced incredible trials and losses this year, from disproportionate COVID impacts on AAPI communities, to the critical needs for addressing gun violence and rising anti-Asian hate crimes, to the COVID crisis in India, which hit especially close to home for me. Working directly in response to many of these crises has challenged me to think more critically about my own role in creating change through policy. I felt very strongly the deep responsibility of working in the public sector and the ongoing need to center AAPI stories and communities to better address needs that are often brushed over. These issues absolutely cannot be addressed without the presence and voice of AAPI staffers, members, and advocates alike. I'm thankful for the opportunity to have been able to do this work, which was made possible through the APAICS Fellowship. Thankful for the connections I made within the cohort and within the larger networks these past 9 months. And I just want to say congratulations to all the 2020-2021 graduates and say that it has been an incredibly humbling. It has been incredibly humbling to be able to share this experience with you all.
Thank you so much to Natasha and to all of the fellows who are graduating today. And now that you have transitioned into this new phase of your careers, it's my pleasure to welcome Nisha Ramachandran, who serves as the board liaison for the APAICS Fellows Association, Alumni Association, and also serves on the exec board. Nisha.
Thanks, Madeline, and welcome to all of you as new Alumni Association members. I've had the privilege of meeting and chatting with many of you, both in groups and individually. So on behalf of all of us in the Alumni Association and our executive board, just want to, Tony, Natasha, Vina, Judith, Mieko, Josh, Michelle, all of you want to make sure you all feel congratulated and supported by all of us. We're so proud of the work you've all done. Many of us have been through this fellowship, all of us have been through this fellowship before, but have not had as challenging of an experience as all of you have had managing this role through this pandemic and the kind of unique situation that you've each been put in. And so we really, hats off to all of you from all of us. I know so many of you have spoken about the importance of this program, and from all of us, we want to also just shout out to the sponsors who continue to support the APAICS Congressional Fellowship. It is something that has changed the lives and careers of many of us in the Alumni Association, and you can clearly see here the amazing work that this cohort has done. And so to all of you graduating today, again, we're so proud. We're happy to have been mentors and sounding boards, and will continue to be here for you. And as Natasha alluded to, we're thrilled to have you joining us in our ranks in the Alumni Association, and we hope you'll get involved and stay involved and continue to pass that on to future generations of APAICS fellows. So thanks again so much, and congratulations to each of you as well.
Thank you so much to the APAICS Alumni, the Fellows Association, just because of the fact that so many of the alumni spend time with us reviewing applications, doing the interviews, spending time mentoring, and providing insight to the current cohorts. And we look forward to this new graduating class being a part of that process as we bring in additional fellows for the incoming cycles to come. And I hope that you continue to see APAICS as a resource in the ecosystem of public service. We've seen our fellows go on to many other opportunities, and we see them as elected officials. We see them as state appointed officials. And I think it's very important for us to remember that there is a network, not just in DC, but throughout the country. And we are very excited to have all of you be a part of that. And also the retention rate is something we are most interested in, because for us, this is about making sure that we keep all of you in public service for as long as possible, so that you can continue to improve your subject matter skills, improve upon all the things that have happened in the past, so that we can have a bigger and brighter future for all those who are joining us into the future. And so with all of that, let's give another round of applause to our graduates. We are very excited to see their progress. They will now be a part of the alumni newsletter. I'm happy to share opportunities for them to be able to continue along in public service. We will actually, in the very near future, be launching another application for another round of fellows that will likely start a little bit later than our traditional incoming class. And so we're very excited to be able to launch that application. So of course we'll be looking to all of you to share that information, because I will say the most frequented list in terms of referrals is actually from the alumni. And so you are our biggest advocates, and you are part of why we have more fellows coming in. And the more that we can help you stay in public service, the more we can get representation in our staff and in elected officials. So congratulations to everyone. This concludes our official program. If you want to stay and hang out and say hello, please feel free to do so. And we look forward to seeing you. Hopefully we can do this in the future in person. So have an enjoyable rest of your week.